The rumble of a truck broke the peaceful quiet of Ethan's garden. He looked up from the tomato plant he'd been nurturing, squinting against the bright midday sun. His jaw dropped as a striking woman with blue skin emerged from the vehicle, her figure highlighted by impossibly short denim shorts and a snug white top. Ethan blinked, unsure if he was dreaming. While aliens were becoming more common, none had looked like her. Their eyes locked, and an electric thrill coursed through Ethan, freezing him in place. He tried to look away, but found himself captivated by her otherworldly charm. The woman smiled and waved. "Hey there, I'm Mira. Just moved in next door." Her voice was melodic, pulling Ethan from his trance. Realizing he was still gripping a tomato, he hastily set it down. Hi," he stammered, heart racing. "I'm Ethan. Welcome to the neighborhood." Mira's smile broadened, revealing pearly white teeth that contrasted with her azure skin. "Thanks. Mind helping me with my things? I promise I don't bite, unless you're into that sort of thing." She winked playfully. Ethan chuckled nervously, acutely aware of how flustered he must seem. "Sure, I'd be happy to help." As they unloaded boxes from the truck, Ethan couldn't help but steal glances at Mira. Her movements were fluid and mesmerizing. He almost dropped a box when she bent down to retrieve something, giving him an enticing view. "Careful there, big guy," Mira teased. "These are delicate items from my home planet. Don't want them smashed because you can't stop looking at me." Ethan felt his face heat up. I didn't." Mira laughed, her voice like chimes. "Relax. I'm just teasing. It's cute when you blush. You turn the most delightful shade of pink." Ethan groaned inwardly, feeling like a complete fool. "So, where exactly are you from?" he asked, desperate to shift the subject. "Oh, just a little planet called Xyler. You probably haven't heard of it," she replied nonchalantly. "It's about 50 light years away. Nice place, but the commute is brutal." Ethan nearly choked. "You're joking, right?" Mira raised an eyebrow. "About the commute?" "Nope, that part's true. Stasis pods are not comfortable. Let me tell you." "No, 50 light years. That's incredible." Mira shrugged. "It's not that big a deal. Lots of aliens come to Earth these days, right? I hear humans are making all sorts of interesting deals with off-worlders." Ethan's smile faded. "Yeah, I've heard about those deals. Not really my thing, to be honest." Mira tilted her head, studying him. "And why's that?" Ethan shifted uncomfortably under her gaze. "Just seems risky, you know? All that power can change people. Not always for the better." Mira nodded slowly. "You're not wrong, but change isn't always bad. Sometimes it's exactly what we need." There was something in her voice, a hint of sincerity, that intrigued Ethan. Before he could ponder it further, Mira clapped her hands. "Well, that's the last of it. Thanks for your help, neighbor. I owe you one." "Don't mention it," Ethan replied, surprised at the disappointment he felt as their time together ended. "If you need anything else, just let me know." Mira's lips curved into a playful smile. "Careful with that offer, Ethan. I might just take you up on it." With a final wink, she headed into her new home, leaving Ethan in a daze. Over the next few days, Ethan found himself inventing increasingly flimsy excuses to visit Mira. He offered to mow her lawn, she didn't have one, borrowed a cup of sugar, he didn't bake, and even pretended his shower was broken, it wasn't. Each encounter left him more flustered than the last. Mira seemed to delight in teasing him, her flirtations growing bolder by the day. "You know, Ethan," she purred one afternoon as he fumbled with a wrench while fixing her kitchen sink. "If you wanted to see me, you could have just asked me out." Ethan nearly banged his head on the pipes. "What? No, that's not." Mira laughed. "Oh, come on. We both know you're not really here to fix my sink, which, by the way, wasn't actually broken." Ethan emerged from under the sink, his face burning. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Mira waved her hand dismissively. "Don't apologize. I think it's sweet. Tell you what, why don't you come over for dinner tonight? We can drop the pretense and actually talk." Ethan's heart raced. Every instinct told him to refuse, to run before he got in too deep, but as he looked into Mira's captivating eyes, he found himself nodding. "Great," she beamed. 8 o'clock. Don't be late." As Ethan walked home in a daze, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping into something far beyond his control. The day dragged on as he anxiously prepared for dinner, changing his outfit multiple times before finally settling on a casual button-down and jeans. When the clock struck 8, he knocked on Mira's door, a bottle of wine gripped tightly in his sweaty palm. The door swung open, and Ethan's breath caught. Mira stood before him in a sleek black dress that left little to the imagination. Her blue skin shimmered in the soft lighting. "Right on time," she purred. "I like a punctual man." Ethan swallowed hard. "I brought wine," he managed, thrusting the bottle toward her. Mira accepted it, her fingers brushing against his, sending shivers down his spine. "How thoughtful," she said. "Come on in. Dinner's almost ready." Ethan followed her into the house, trying not to stare at her graceful movements. The interior was an eclectic mix of earth decor and alien artifacts. Strange glowing crystals nestled alongside potted plants, a painting of a double-moon landscape next to a poster of a human rock band. "Make yourself comfortable," Mira called from the kitchen. "I'll be right out." Ethan sank into a plush armchair, his eyes wandering over the unique decor. A strange device on the coffee table caught his attention. It looked like a cross between a lamp and a futuristic gadget. "Careful with that," Mira warned, emerging with 2 glasses of wine. "It's a quantum communicator, very delicate and very illegal on this planet." Ethan jerked his hand back. "Illegal? Should you be telling me that?" Mira shrugged as she handed him a glass. "Probably not, but I have a feeling you can keep a secret." She winked. "Besides, what are you going to do? Report me to the alien police?" Ethan chuckled, despite himself. "Fair point. So what's for dinner?" "Nothing too exotic, I promise," Mira replied. "I've been experimenting with Earth cuisine. Tonight we're having lasagna." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "You made lasagna? Don't look so surprised." Mira laughed. "I'm an excellent cook. It's all chemistry, really, and I happen to be very good at it." As they ate, Ethan relaxed. The lasagna was delicious, and conversation flowed easily. Mira shared stories of her home planet, describing fantastical creatures and breathtaking vistas. "So, what brought you to Earth?" Ethan asked, refilling their wine glasses. Mira's expression grew serious. "Curiosity, mostly, and opportunity. Your world is at a pivotal moment. The contracts between humans and aliens are changing everything." Ethan frowned. "Not always for the better, from what I've seen." "Perhaps," Mira conceded, "but it depends on the individuals involved. Great power can corrupt, yes, but it can also elevate. It all comes down to choices." There was a weight to her words that unsettled Ethan. "Is that why you're here, to make contracts?" Mira smiled enigmatically. "Among other reasons." "Tell me, Ethan, have you ever considered it, making a contract?" Ethan shook his head firmly. "No, never. It's too risky." "Is it?" Mira leaned forward, her gaze piercing. "Or are you just afraid of change? Of becoming something more than what you are?" Ethan shifted uncomfortably. "I'm happy with who I am." "Are you?" Mira's voice was soft, almost hypnotic. "Don't you ever wonder what you could achieve with just a little boost? Strength beyond imagining, intelligence to rival the greatest minds in history, charisma that could charm anyone." As she spoke, Ethan leaned closer, drawn in by her words and the intoxicating scent surrounding her. "It sounds tempting," he admitted, "but at what cost?" Mira's smile widened. "Everything worthwhile has a price, Ethan. The question is whether you're willing to pay it." Suddenly, she stood, extending her hand. "Come with me. There's something I want to show you." Against his better judgment, Ethan took her hand and followed her to a door he hadn't noticed before. It slid open silently, revealing a room that looked nothing like the rest of the house. Glowing symbols covered the walls, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. In the center stood a pedestal with a shimmering, translucent orb. "What is this place?" Ethan whispered, despite his trepidation. "This," Mira said, her voice resonating with power, "is where contracts are made." She turned to face him, her eyes glowing with an inner light. "You never answered my question earlier, Ethan. Have you ever thought about changing your life?" Ethan's heart raced. He knew he should leave, should run far away from this alien temptress and her dangerous offer. But as he gazed into Mira's mesmerizing eyes, he found himself unable to move. I don't know, he stammered. Mira stepped closer, her body inches from his. Don't you want to find out what you're truly capable of? Don't you want to be extraordinary? Her scent overwhelmed him, clouding his thoughts. Ethan felt dizzy, intoxicated by her presence and the pulsing energy of the room. He began, but the words died in his throat as Mira leaned in, her lips brushing against his ear. Say yes, Ethan, she whispered. Say yes, and I'll show you wonders beyond your wildest dreams. Ethan's heart raced as Mira's whisper hung in the air, intoxicating and irresistible. Say yes. The word echoed in his mind, swirling with possibilities. What would it mean to step into the unknown, to embrace a life filled with power and wonder? Yet the weight of uncertainty pressed down on him. What if I don't like what I've become? Ethan finally managed to voice, his thoughts still a tumult of fear and curiosity. Mira's eyes sparkled with a mix of understanding and mischief. That's the beauty of it, Ethan. You have the choice to shape your own destiny. This isn't about losing who you are. It's about discovering what you can truly become. He glanced at the shimmering orb on the pedestal, its glow pulsating like a heartbeat. What does it do? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. It holds the potential for transformation, Mira replied, stepping closer. It can enhance your abilities, heighten your senses, grant you strengths you've never imagined. But at what cost? Ethan pressed, feeling a mixture of excitement and dread. There's always a cost, she acknowledged, her tone becoming serious. But the greatest risk is not taking a chance at all. Sometimes, you have to leap into the unknown to find your true self. He hesitated, the internal struggle evident on his face. Could he really trust this enigmatic alien? Yet deep down, he felt a yearning for more than his ordinary life. He had always been drawn to adventure, to stories of heroes and legends. Wasn't this the chance to live his own tale? Mira watched him intently, her gaze unwavering. You have the power to change your story, Ethan. Just say the word. Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer to the orb, feeling the energy radiating from it. What if I say yes? He asked, curiosity outweighing his apprehension. Mira smiled, a mix of warmth and excitement in her eyes. Then we begin the journey together. I'll guide you through the process, and you'll learn to harness your new abilities. What should I expect? Ethan asked, the questions tumbling from his lips. The transformation will be unique to you, she explained. It will enhance what's already within you, your strengths, your desires. But it will also challenge you. You'll need to confront your fears and doubts. Ethan nodded, trying to steady his racing heart. I want to know what I'm capable of. With that, he reached out, placing his hand over the orb. The moment his skin made contact, a jolt of energy surged through him, bright and electric. He gasped as visions flooded his mind. Flashes of strength, intelligence, and charisma beyond his wildest dreams. Focus on what you want, Mira urged. Picture yourself as you wish to be. Ethan concentrated, imagining a life filled with adventure, a version of himself unafraid to take risks, to explore the unknown. As the energy enveloped him, he felt himself shifting, his senses heightening. The air crackled with possibility, and he could feel the pulse of the universe around him. What's happening? He exclaimed, exhilaration and fear mixing within him. You're awakening, Mira encouraged. Embrace it. Let it flow through you. The room seemed to spin, and he clung to the orb, overwhelmed yet exhilarated. He could feel a sense of power blooming inside him, a feeling he had never experienced before. But then, doubt crept in. What if I lose myself? He gasped, panic rising. Mira stepped closer, her presence grounding. You won't lose yourself. You're in control. Just remember who you are at your core. With her words, he focused again, summoning the courage to embrace the change. The energy surged brighter and more intense. Ethan closed his eyes, surrendering to the moment, allowing the transformation to take hold. Suddenly, the world around him exploded into color. He felt an incredible rush, as if he were soaring through the sky. His senses sharpened. He could hear every heartbeat in the house, the rustling of leaves outside, the faint hum of distant traffic. It was intoxicating, but amid the thrill, a voice echoed in his mind. Doubts, fears, the lingering thought of who he had been. "I don't want to lose sight of myself," he murmured, feeling the tension rise again. "Then hold on to that," Mira urged, her voice steady and calming. "You're not just gaining new powers. You're enhancing who you already are. Trust in yourself, Ethan." With that reassurance, Ethan took a deep breath, letting the energy wash over him completely. He embraced the sensations, reveling in the new possibilities unfurling within him. The orb glowed brighter, and a sudden wave of clarity washed over him. He opened his eyes, feeling different, alive in a way he had never imagined. "What now?" he asked, breathless. Mira's smile widened, her eyes glimmering with approval. "Now we train. You'll need to learn to control your newfound abilities. The world is filled with wonders, but it can also be dangerous. You'll need to be ready." Ethan nodded, determination swelling in his chest. He had taken the leap into the unknown, and now he was ready to discover what lay ahead. Together, he and Mira would navigate this new path, and he was excited for the adventures to come. Ethan's heart raced as he absorbed the exhilaration coursing through him. Mira's presence beside him felt steady and reassuring, a lighthouse guiding him through uncharted waters. "What do we start with?" he asked, excitement bubbling to the surface. Mira gestured toward the glowing symbols on the walls. "First, you need to understand the energy around you. It's not just about power, it's about connection. We'll begin with grounding exercises." "Grounding," Ethan echoed, curiosity piquing. Mira nodded. "It helps you focus and tap into the energy around you without losing control. It's essential for any kind of enhancement." "Okay, I'm ready," he replied, determination etched on his face. Mira led him to the center of the room, where the pulsating energy felt most intense. "Close your eyes and take a deep breath," she instructed. "Feel the ground beneath your feet. Imagine roots extending from you, anchoring you to the earth." Ethan followed her guidance, closing his eyes and inhaling deeply. As he imagined roots stretching down, he felt a sense of calm washing over him. The chaotic energy within began to settle, transforming into a steady hum. "Good. Now visualize the energy around you," Mira continued. "Picture it as a shimmering light. Feel it pulse in rhythm with your heartbeat." Ethan concentrated, envisioning a vibrant glow surrounding him, pulsating in harmony with his own energy. Suddenly, a flicker of understanding ignited within him. He could feel the energy warm and inviting, flowing through him and around him. "I can feel it," he exclaimed, his voice full of wonder. "Excellent," Mira encouraged. "Now try to direct that energy. Imagine it flowing through your arms and into your hands." He focused, picturing the light coursing through him, gathering in his palms. To his astonishment, a small sphere of light began to form between his hands. "Keep it steady," Mira advised, her eyes sparkling with approval. "Don't force it. Let it flow naturally." Ethan concentrated harder, adjusting his focus. The sphere flickered and wobbled, but remained intact. "I'm doing it," he said, a grin spreading across his face. "Very good. Now let's try something more challenging." Mira stepped back, her expression shifting to one of intensity. "I want you to expand that energy outward. Create a protective barrier around you." "A barrier?" he asked, a touch of trepidation creeping in. "What if I can't control it?" Mira stepped closer, her voice steady. "Remember, you're not just channeling power. You're learning to control it. Trust yourself." Taking a deep breath, Ethan focused again, feeling the warmth radiating from the sphere. "Okay, here goes." He imagined the energy extending from his hands, forming a shield around him. The sphere expanded, glowing brighter, enveloping him in a warm cocoon of light. Suddenly, Mira clapped her hands together, breaking his concentration. The barrier flickered and dissolved. "Great effort, but keep your focus," she said with an encouraging smile. "Let's practice that again." They repeated the exercise several times, each attempt refining Ethan's control. With every surge of energy, he felt stronger, more attuned to the force within him. Hours slipped away as they trained, the bond between them deepening with each shared moment. As they paused for a break, Mira handed Ethan a glass of water. "You're doing really well," she praised. "Most people struggle with this part, but you're a natural." "Thanks, but I still feel like I'm just scratching the surface," Ethan replied, wiping the sweat from his brow. "What's next?" Mira considered him for a moment, her expression thoughtful. "Next, we'll test your agility and reflexes. Enhanced abilities aren't just about strength. They're about adaptability." "Okay, I'm in," he said, excitement bubbling in his chest. Mira led him to a spacious area in the room, where various alien artifacts were scattered. "I'm going to throw some objects at you," she explained, "and you need to react quickly. Use your energy to deflect them if you can." "Sounds intense," Ethan said, his heart racing at the prospect. Mira picked up a small, spherical object and tossed it toward him. Reacting instinctively, he raised his hands, channeling energy to create a small barrier. The object collided with it, bouncing harmlessly away. "Nice!" Mira cheered. "Now, let's see how you handle more than one." She threw two more objects simultaneously. Ethan's focus sharpened. He felt the energy swirling within him. This time, he expanded the barrier to catch both, a rush of triumph surging through him as he succeeded. "Keep going," Mira encouraged, throwing more objects, each one more challenging than the last. Ethan found himself in a rhythm, his reflexes heightened and his confidence growing. He could feel the energy pulsing through him like a heartbeat, guiding his movements. But then, just as he was feeling invincible, Mira threw a larger object, something he hadn't anticipated. Panic surged through him. He instinctively reached out, but his focus faltered. The object struck him square in the chest, knocking him backward. He fell to the ground, momentarily stunned. Mira rushed to his side, concern etched on her face. "Ethan, are you okay?" "I'm fine," he managed, pushing himself up. "I just got a bit caught off guard." She helped him to his feet, her gaze piercing through his doubts. "This is part of the training. You'll face unexpected challenges. It's how you grow." Ethan took a deep breath, nodding. "I understand. I need to stay focused, no matter what." Mira smiled, her eyes bright with encouragement. "Exactly. Now let's try that again. This time, anticipate the obstacles." As they resumed the training, Ethan felt a newfound determination. With every throw, every challenge, he honed his abilities. He learned not only to react, but to think ahead, to embrace the unpredictability of his powers. Hours turned into days, and with each passing moment, Ethan felt the transformation settling within him. The once timid man was being replaced by someone more confident, capable of facing whatever came his way. And through it all, Mira remained by his side, a guiding light. As they concluded another intense training session, Mira turned to him, her expression serious yet warm. "You've come a long way, Ethan. But remember, this is just the beginning. There are greater challenges ahead, and you must be ready." "I am," he said, his voice steady. "Whatever comes next, I'll face it." Mira nodded, satisfaction evident in her eyes. "Good. Trust yourself, and you'll discover more than you ever thought possible." Ethan looked into her eyes, feeling a bond that was more than just teacher and student. It was a connection forged in shared purpose. He was ready for whatever lay ahead, excited for the adventures waiting just beyond the horizon.